good. I didn't want everyone to hear this fucking rampage I just went on.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, fuck. Ugh. We're going live. So I have this. I feel like we've been in the 70s.
We have to bump the site now too.
What?
Now we gotta go bump that.
I already did.
Too. Oh damn.
I already did.
Oh, what I was saying too is I didn't really make it through the DPS, but
yeah.
What did you guys want to talk about? Did you guys want to talk about that, or did you have anything in mind? Cause
I fucking
really
figured you guys were gonna wanna.
I kind of want to talk about the arena ranking system, and what I have is I don't have the DPS done.
Wait, hold on.
I don't have the DPS done, but I have... What?
Fix your Skype! My window's fucked. I'm like, matted in.
I can't even see stuff. Like, I think my internet is being DDoSed.
Something wrong? DDoS!
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we can see Nikosi in this one, so maybe just stretch me widthwise if you can, so we can keep Nikosi's face in it.
Wait, does that not look good, Yubi? Take a look. Well, 30 seconds later.
Yeah.
Oh wow, what's my Skype pic? Oh, it's that.
Yeah, that's your
Capture all the flags.
high school senior year yearbook pic, right?
Yeah.
So it's a good look for you, man. Seriously. I like it.
Capture all the flags.
Not just some of them. I want all of them, motherfucker!
Those were days. Catarogue, Shadow Step. Beautiful. Yeah.
Demon!
Spring. You had Gouge. 19 Rogue was actually fun. You can move around the field. Good.
But dude... Yeah, actually, rogues were fucking obscene then. Ain't gonna argue that.
Does it not look good now, Yubi? What I was doing? Or no? Let me change it.
It still looks a little jacked, brah.
God, you're needy.
What up, hot to the ness? I'm not needy, man. I'm just trying to get shit right. What's wrong with that?
Everything. JK.
Really?
Huh!
J.K. Rowling's, dude.
Let's see. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. We'll test it. This might fuck things up a little bit, Yubi. It's because of Nixie, that's why it looks different.
Nikosi, why you gotta be fucking up the program, bro?
Alright, that's what it's gonna look like. That's the best I can get it.
Whatever, man. Fine. Fine.
Dude, holy cow. Where did you get all this energy from?
Oh, that's even worse than it was before. Who, me? Oh, there we go. That's good. Dude, I've been fucking running constantly, so it's like I'm still riding that wave.
Okay. All I'm gonna say though is that I have all the healers done.
Alright.
That took me like 2.5 hours actually to do, just the healers.
I liked that though. I liked how you broke that down to the strength and weaknesses and that shiz.
And then on my sheet of magical rough draftness, I have all the DPS done as well. And I had a really heated discussion with Kunz last night, and he changed my decision on one of them.
Is it as beautiful mind-like as your unsung heroes list?
Oh, it's 10 times better than my unsung heroes list. It's way more organized than that, actually.
I'm ready to completely.
You don't look like a mental patient.
Oh.
Gonna get Johnny Blaze up on it. Son of a bitch. Alright.
And then I also have the numbers written down for the test that I did.
Whoa, you got some legitimate homework done for this, Bonds. I am impressed. Nikosi, do you have your scratch pad with you?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, man.
Yeah. I have numbers. Like 1,000 rent picks.
like, I need one number, one rend tick. You know what that does? That's all you need.
You win the game. They warrior this. They warrior rest shaman.
It's like rend tick times duration equals win. What else do you need to know?
That's not my top class.
Okay.
Your top class is going to be like enhanced chamois.
Dude,
We'll just have to wait and see, okay?
if that's the case, I'm hanging up. Mid-class.
Wait, let's take bets. What do you think his top DPS is going to be? Nikosi?
Okay, so if it's not Arms Warrior from Buns,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be like Feral.
See, I don't think he's that obvious. I think he's gonna works out some little magic equation with his notes and his numbers and come up with like enhanced sham or get real crazy and be like, honestly, if you really break it down, Furies are better. Let me tell you why.
Dude, I totally forgot today that I'm playing in like the 3v3 tournament, and like yesterday I factioned my mage to play Horde. And
that
I'm
was
supposed to do RMP tomorrow, or today now, in like what, 3 hours from now. And
well,
so I had to get it reversed. I was like, oh, whoops.
well played, Buns. Well played.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you could get it reversed. Otherwise, you're like, well, if you guys want to do it in 3 days, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, who's got something I can borrow?
Well, I was sketching out for a second. I was like, fuck.
I can't wait for you to get destroyed by double melee comps, Buns.
No.
It's gonna be great, right?
No, because no, this is Mage. His best DPS class is going to be Affliction Warlock.
It's just
How about-
so much damage.
No, it's going to be Disc Priest. There we go.
Yeah. Best.
Affliction Warlock is actually not the lowest DPS I have.
Fire Mage.
Are you counting prot specs?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I guess you have
I'm
to,
already
'cause-
giving you guys too many teasers. Oh, I got it. Hang on.
It's the precast conversation. You got to tease a little bit.
I said Warrior's not the top DPS class, and Affliction's not the worst. What else do you want from me? Come on.
I mean, we wanted all bonds, but I guess we're going to have to wait.
Okay. I also have a Malto going now, so I'm like on a roll.
Good. Are you almost? Oh God, I had a teacher when I was little. When he'd say, "Let's take roll," he'd go, "I'll have a bagel," and would laugh hysterically every single day.
He would?
Mm-hmm.
The teacher would say that to himself.
No, he'd say it out loud in class. Like, it's like, all right, it's time to take a roll. And then in a different voice, he'd say, "I'll have a bagel," and would just break up like it's the funniest thing he's ever heard. But he would do it every day.
Oh man, that's not good. Why?
Tell you what, I remember his name for it, though. Mr. Wiley.
Mr. Wiley.
That was his name. All right, give me 30 seconds, and then if you're done eating your cereal, we can get this show on the road.
Have you guys been on your Twitters bumping the Twink Cup?
I have retweeted.
Of course.
Nice.
I have one pinned to the page instead of the podcasts. I have it pinned to the top so everyone sees it.
It's impressive. I got my, I've been posting him at Holinka as well, and he's been an asshole. If he doesn't respond soon, I'm going to start yelling via the internet.
You need to learn how to.
What, you're going to type at him in all caps and expect him... It's like, this is me yelling at you. That's what all caps means, goddammit. In a way, Hot, I don't know when you typed this, but we're kind of going to be doing current state of twinking for 19s in regards to arenas today.
And it's not gonna be pretty.
Depending if you're the punch bowl or the poop. Alright, where do I want to go?
Dude, the other thing I was really debating on too is well, for my healer spots, I was really debating on the last 3 too. I really had to debate for the top spot, and then I really had to debate on the order of the last 3.
Yeah, because they're all shit compared to Disc Priest.
I mean, if you really want to get serious about it here.
Yeah.
Dude, Resto Druid.
There's like God
Resto Druid's
tier,
good, dude.
and then it's like Resto Shamans are God tier if they play with a warrior or a feral, and then there's rest of the healers.
Alright, you guys want to... Wait, what the fuck is going on? Alright.
What's up?
Hot 19s are active, 20 to 29 is active, and believe it or not, 90 to 99 is, from the people I talk to, very active. So, those are probably your 3 best bets at the moment. I guess those are, I shouldn't say probably, your 3 best bets at the moment. Alright, you guys want to get 7 to the 9 underway?
This is 79? It's not 78? Do we have the numbers?
79.
Come on, man.
Last time was 78.
Did you
Yeah.
say it was 78 last
We're
time?
actually...
Yes, it's official. Check
Okay.
the forum.
Alright.
Out now, brown cow. Unique New York. Alright, y'all. Alright, y'all. Welcome to a special Saturday edition of 15 with the Buns. We have a special guest today we'll get to in a moment. So, Kami Horse is a special guest. I am Yubi.
I am
As
HB.
always.
I'm just jumping into it.
As you're getting into this interruption habit, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, but we're going to roll with it for now.
Good.
At least our guest is polite. The Swedish superstar.
What's up,
that's what you
guys?
can-
It's Nicosia.
No, you got to go. That.
No,
now,
no,
see,
no, no.
I jumped on you. God damn it! All right, sorry, Nikosi. Go ahead.
What's up, guys? It's Nicosia.
There it is. I love it. I've missed that.
Fucking hate it.
All right. You know how we got to start, Buns. Even though it's Saturday, we still need some shout-outs. What do you got?
God damn it. Who's my shout out go to? Oh, you know
I
what?
can't
Time
wait
out,
for
time out.
when it
Easy,
comes to
easy,
us.
easy.
Okay.
My shout out goes to Merm for getting the Twink Cup 19 tournament round 2, getting rolling for the summer. Hashtag Twink Cup. Get active on Twitter, people. Start promoting the tournament. Get involved. Donate. Get a team. Check out the BisNation forums. We've got lots of updates on the tournament. You can get involved. It's going to be a blast.
Nikosi. I know this one's probably catching you off guard, but do you have any shout-outs?
I do actually.
Okay.
Gotta give a shout out to Super Stylin and Iggy for basically funding my Twink last night out of nowhere. That
Well,
was
shit. Let's
appreciated.
give
Sure. Out of nowhere, I received tens of thousands of gold and items.
Are these the people that sent you the mage fist and the money, and you're like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Props to you too. Shout out. My shout outs, of course, you got to go with the previously mentioned Merm for getting that bet going. There is an Indiegogo campaign he started for that to assist with the prize pool. The hope is for it to be actually significantly larger than the 1,400 that it was last year. If you go to bisnation.net, on the right-hand side of the page, there's a link that'll take you directly to it. Anything you can throw in, even if it's a couple bucks, it'll help if enough people do it to get that funded and support it. And this is something unlike anything else in Twinking. So whatever you can do, please do it. Use the hashtag TwinkCup when you're talking about stuff on Twitter, and that'll also help to spread the word. And the more people using that, I mean, the more notoriety and the more attention people outside of our little sphere will pay to it. And my other shout-outs are going to be everyone that's been helping and posting and active on the forums. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, and am so happy to see that people are embracing it and using it. And I'll give both of you a shout out because you guys are kind of the ones that nudged me to finally
Woo!
man up and do it. So thank you very much, guys. And I want to give a very special shout out to the people that put guides up on there already. And that is FC put up a 29 Ret Pally guide. Neep put up a 19 Mistweaving guide. Rusks put up a Rogue guide. Shift put up a 19 Druid guide. HB, you did something or other. I mean, we may or may not get to that later. And Trialwood is going to be putting free-to-play videos up for people to see to show different gameplay styles and stuff. So big ups to you guys. Thank you. I know that was a long shout-out, but it's necessary. So, Buns, I guess we might as well get into what you had to contribute, because that may or may not be kicking off the conversation for today's podcast.
All right, so I had... Let me back this up. My senior year of high school, second semester, and I have a lot of time in my classes where I don't do anything at all. During that time, I was thinking about content to put up for the site, and I was like, you know what? I really want to make like some sort of class guide, because I know for me personally, when I'm streaming, I often get asked like, you know, what are the best classes, and obviously there's easy answers to give to that, but I wanted to take it a step further into something that I don't think's ever been done before, and I think that's something.
Wait, you breaking
really
new ground here?
I'm breaking new grounds. We are exiting the atmosphere. We're free falling.
Oh shit!
So it's going to be 2 guides that are coming up. I am currently in the midst of the first guide. The guides are going to break down what every single class spec, every single one, from Disc Priest to Affliction Lock.
So this is even including things like Holy Priest that are generally not played?
Yes. It's every spec class and how well they do in Arena for the first guide, and then a second guide for how well those class specs do in Warsong. Because a lot of those classes can move up or down the ranks depending on the setting, which I think is important to note for people that are looking to do Arenas versus Warsong, or someone who's looking to do both.
Yeah.
So
that is a very good distinction to make.
Currently, I'm working on the Arena guide, and I've done all the healers so far. And I have a rough draft basically next to me of everything, including the DPS and whatnot. Just I don't have it written out in stone yet. So we have a pretty good table for where to start here. So I you know, for those of you guys who've seen so far, I put up the healers last night, and it would probably help if I pulled up the thread next to me, huh? That would be beneficial. But anyways, the order that I had ranked in from top to bottom is I had Disc Priest on the top, Resto Shaman second, Resto Druid third, Holy Paladin fourth, Holy Priest fifth, and finally Mistweaver as sixth.
Okay, now before you get into your explanations for each of those, Nkosi, right off the bat, how do you feel about those rankings?
They could probably be accurate, I would say. I don't think like the lower number classes or the higher number, depending on how you look at it, the weaker ones. I don't know if it's necessarily really that needed to rank them in between themselves, because
What,
at
is
the
it kinda
moment
like-
I just feel like there's probably 3 healers that you could consider somewhat viable, with the Disc Priest probably being up top there, and then Resto Shaman second, depending on the partner that the Resto Shaman has,
Mm-hmm.
as far as class goes.
Yeah.
All right, so then what about, like, let's just start at the top then and work our way down. And Nkosi, jump in when you disagree or such with HB. So what about Disc Priests? What makes them so bad frickin' ass?
Okay, so the thing that I explained on the guide too is, and what Nick was just saying, is that the 2 top healers, without question, are Disc Priest and Resto Shaman. And the reasoning for putting Disc Priest over Resto Shaman is like really close. Like it's a really close call to put one over the other. I think you could make the argument for both. The way I was looking at it, though, I had Priest just over the top. So just literally going off the guide, some of the strengths that Priests have is Bubble right now is absurd. And just for it being like an instant cast, like, hey, you're now gonna absorb like 900, 1,000 damage, is ridiculous. And not only is that ridiculous, but it gives you time to like catch up or keep playing offensive, and it really gives you a lot of freedom of what you're doing on your other globals after that. The heals are very strong. Just normal flash heal is fairly strong. It's, in my opinion, the most offensive healer, while you have like Penance, Holy Fire, Smite, Shadow Word Pain. It's just like a lot of dots going on, especially with Elemental Force in the mix. You're going to have a lot of spread damage from that. I understand that Resto Druid has the potential to be really offensive, but I'll get into that a little bit later. Just their heals.
HB, let me interrupt you for just 1 second. I'm not sure if we said this or not, but Ryan Cool in chat just asked, are we talking about 19s? Yes, just to clarify, we are talking about the 19 bracket.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, arenas, I guess.
Yes.
So, going off of that, the other thing that I think makes Priests extremely viable is the fact that they have Spectral Guys and how many different ways they can use that ability. They can use that ability to get out of CC situations where they might be getting sheeped or feared, and they just kind of use it like a meld. They can use it to avoid or get a better opener or avoid line of sight issues. So, and also if they start getting trained by melee, it gives them some sort of reasoning or some sort of way if they bubble guys to get out of situations. But you have to pay attention.
Guys, eh?
Yeah. But the weaknesses the class does have is that it doesn't have a Dispel, doesn't have any sort of CC, and is susceptible to melee. And one thing I'm going to mention right off the bat that I mentioned later on in the guide is that pretty much every healer is susceptible to melee, just because of how strong melee are.
Nikosi, do you want to, I don't know, touch on that for a second?
Yeah, sure. Sure, Disc Priest doesn't have a Dispel button, which is very true. I tried to play Resto Shaman last night, and there was not a single arena where I got to press the spell button because I didn't face anything that
With magic.
with magic. You would actually have to cast the spell once because it wasn't existing.
Yeah.
Now, why would that be? Are you seeing a lot of, I don't know, warriors or ferals running around?
Yeah, it seems like Warrior Disc is the only comp you can run. That's what like 4 teams ran last night. It's very fun with rend on both targets, just PVing down. Game ends within 30 seconds. You don't get to use your trinket. You don't get to use your dispel.
Yeah.
If you purge, that means you're not healing, and that means you're dead or your partner's dead.
Like that global used on a purge is that important where it's like, dude, that rend damage is so intense, you can't even freaking spare it.
Yeah.
Pretty much
Like,
as soon as a warrior gets like a Crusader at all, like you have to spam.
Yeah.
Jesus. And what about when you have someone that's swapping between Crusader procs and get those, you know, to dub, trip, quad up?
Oh,
what do you do at that
get
point?
double or above, like you just like it's full CDs or you just rot and die.
Yeah.
Like,
but like to be honest, like the games, if they're playing like Disc Warrior, like the game doesn't last that long, unless you're facing Disc Warrior, maybe class
so like
2
since
minutes.
what you're saying, like how you were playing your shaman, it's like, dude, I might as well take the dispel button off my bars at this point because we're just facing like physical debuffs. Are you seeing a lot of people tend to shift towards playing dwarfs? So they at least, I mean, yes, it's every 2 minutes, but they will have the ability to move those bleed type effects.
Well, I definitely think you should be that if you're playing Lions. You should definitely be dwarf. But even then, like a good warrior would just notice that and reapply rend instantly without breaking a sweat. Basically.
Well, way to poop in the punch bowl there. I thought that might be a viable option for a second.
Well,
He's cozy.
it's just the way the Warriors have when they can play
Just the way it is.
double charge, which isn't really a charge, but they can double charge, so they can apply rendings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On both
The double
targets.
charge is basically like used for time on target. That's like it. Like
Yeah.
it just roots and gives them time on target, like to get their rends and reapply stuff like that. Like he was saying, but I
So-
guess
Do you guys want to move on to number 2, or do you have more you want to say on this wonderful Ren
yeah, I was gonna
situation?
go. No. I was gonna go talk. I was gonna finish what I had to say for disc going on here.
Okay. Okay.
The reasoning I gave Disc Priest over the top spot over Resto Shaman was the ability to keep their teammates offensive while being able to significantly contribute to landing kills. Because of their ability to like penance offensively and defensively, and just of how strong Bubble is, they can afford to like take globals to go offensive while the Bubble's still up on their target. And it's just like when you have high DPS class already with you, and then you add in a priest. Like priests do a lot of damage, like a lot. Like you can
Absurd
consider
amount of
like
damage.
priests like do more damage than other DPS do. So like the damage is like
Ooh, is
very,
that
very, very
Is
valuable.
that foreshadowing for your top DPS class right there? That little monkey wrench you're gonna throw in?
Oh no. I didn't. No, it's
Disc
they're
is
not
probably
even-
like the best caster single target DPS that is actually viable. To, like,
Jeez, is
play
it
in
really?
Yeah.
Even more so. I mean, I know Boomkin was really strong last patch. They've fallen off that much.
No, but Boomkin is really. They do really well in a Warsong perspective. Same with Demolux. It just they need the AoE in order to get those numbers. I think Disc Priest, if you're just talking pure casting, could probably do the most damage.
Well, isn't that some goddamn shit? All
Al-
right.
Also, one thing I would like to add, which I agree why Disc Priests are number 1, is
Mhm.
that they can run a lot more stuff, a lot more comps, and be
They
competitive.
synergize a lot better.
Yeah, compared to Resto Shamans, because Resto Shamans don't really have DPS except for Lightning Shield, which is something the other team they can decide if they
Their
want to.
DPS is based off a lightning shield.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like
How-
flame shock, so you have like more
yeah,
damage.
it's still it's still bad.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
I mean,
saying,
what's the
like-
damage coming off lightning shield? I don't know numbers, but I can't imagine it's that significant.
No,
it's not. But then you also have to play like with elemental force and with procs from lightning.
Ah, that's actually an
basically-
interesting point. Yeah.
But it's still like nowhere close to a disc priest, which is why like it's way more viable with guys and the extra DPS that they can offer. So you can
Yeah.
play like priest mage and stuff. Like Resto Shaman mage is not good. Like it just isn't.
And that's actually something I'm really happy actually Nick brought that up too, because that was something I was really considering. Not so much for it carries over a little when I was making some of my decision makings on the DPS side of things, but the point that
Mhm.
Nick brought up where it's like how well does the class spec, like how many other comps can it play in? That was something
Yeah,
that
the
I really
synergy
factored
factor
in
is
as well.
important.
That was why
Yeah.
like that was like one of the reasons why I had like Mistweaver down at like the last. Like in arena, I just like there's to it, but there's so many positioning issues that like it just really sucks. Even though
All right,
its
well,
heals
let's
are
move Let's move on to number 2 then. Let's hear what you have to say about Resto Shams.
All right, so Resto Shamans, by all means they're not bad. Just they are the second spot on the chart. They're very strong healer. They have strong heals, wind shear to prevent CC and to keep their team offensive, dispel to keep teammates aggressive, and avoid hard CC. And I think that's something that people really overlook. Where the fact like if you get pet nova, the fact that like hey, maybe I should dispel myself so I don't get sheeped in the first place, etc. etc.
Or yeah, or what if you get, hodged or something like that? If I'm not sure what your guys' thoughts on ret pallies are, but I'm sure it's nice to be able to pop out of one of those.
Well, yeah, if your like teammate gets Hodge or something, and you just
Mhm.
throw a
Mhm.
spell. And then Purge is really nice too, because if you do have the opportunity to go offensive, like Purge negates a huge amount of priest healing.
This is if you're playing with a warrior versus non-warrior teams. Pretty much.
Yeah,
And does that just have to do with the offensive pressure that the warrior can put out?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Resto Shaman does not put out pressure. It like relies on like its other DPS and partners to put out the
Hmm.
pressure, and then they can play off of that. But it's not like a priest where you can like assist in turning pressure.
Hmm.
Um, and then finally, one nice thing that's good about Resto Shamans is they're pretty tanky, especially with Nature's Guardian. If you use that as your talent, which you should use that as your talent, it just helps give you a little more safety zone and comfort zone when it comes to healing against like this melee right now. Um, some of the weaknesses we talked about, it doesn't do that much damage. Shamans can get trained really hard. Like one difference between priest and shaman is like, if even though priest has less armor and stuff like that, and maybe less overall health, especially with Nature's Guardian, like they actually have
Hmm.
like spectral guys, which at least gives them some sort of option to get away from whatever's on them, whether it be melee or a combination of melee casters. It just gives them some sort of option to.
And you mentioned the bubble guys earlier. I would assume, I mean, it might not necessarily be an out, but if you can pop bubble, at least you can absorb a little bit of that coming into you while you're trying to get away or find a better position.
Yeah, exactly. And it's shamans don't have that. It's like when they get trained, they get trained. They have to like heal through it.
Yeah.
And if you
They
get a
have
shaman
they have
behind,
to cast.
it's tough.
Yeah.
So a Riptide isn't going to supplant bubble anytime soon.
Riptide was really bad in mop, and I was like, "There's no way they can ever make this worse," and they just like made it 5 times worse. Like
Yeah, it's actually
it's
awful.
beyond like the ticks itself after you've actually initially casted it are just
Mhm.
laughable and make zero difference. So I ran this
So-
ticket for 1k on you. Your Riptide is healing for 70.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that
that's
seems
the
about
game.
right, though, you know? I mean, there's only 930 coming in on top of that.
Yeah. Which
And
is also a problem for shamans, like, as soon as damage starts hitting them, they have to stand still and
Yeah.
spam heal. Like, they,
Well, that
they
brings
cannot
up
move.
Ryan Cool brought something else up that you responded to in chat, but it might be worth talking about now that going over just the insane amount of damage. What do you guys think about the damage to health pool ratio? I mean, is that too insane and the healers can't keep up with it, or do you think it's in a decent place?
It's way too insane.
There's a few classes that it's just like so bad on, but then for the rest, I guess it's okay. Like Warrior Feral, like is like insane.
For most casters, I guess it's okay. For the majority of melees, it's not really okay. So,
And not to
It's a
make
goddamn
anyone even
melee
more
expansion.
upset, but based on what I saw from patch notes, damage is going up.
yeah.
Oh, that's
They-
good.
Yeah, they don't have any clue.
So
So, actually, no, I'm going to save that question because that could be a whole nother podcast topic. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about Resto Shams, or should we move on to the Druids?
the one last thing I want to say about Resto Shamans is the other thing that I think gives Priest an edge over Resto Shaman is the fact that Bubble and Penance can be used kind of out of line of sight with a channel or just popping out to give a bubble, where, like Nick said, Riptide is really, 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 really bad. So for Shamans, they just have to hard cast their heals too, which like puts them in like worse line of sight issues. So it can
It
like
puts
set
them in
up for-
charges way.
Yeah, no, yeah, it puts them in like spots where they can either get swapped on.
It's like
or
they have to
CC'd.
stand on the train tracks as the goddamn locomotive that is a warrior is just barreling down on their soul.
It is not.
Ah,
Yeah.
Poor guys. Poor guys. All right, let's hit Druid then.
After that, yep, I have Resto Druid. The strength of this class is ability to play line of sight, just because it's such a mobile class and can hop in and out quite well. It has offensive versatility with the fact that it can do hots or dots. It can wrath. It can really. The thing that really excels is cat form damage for Resto Druid. Just to put it in perspective too, it's so like out of like scaling. Like the fact that in my Guardian, on my Guardian Druid, and like my best in slot, like DPS set and attack power, I have like 100 high 130 something, and Resto Druids in their normal cat form have like 170 attack power, just to like give that some perspective. It's broken, But they also, a nice thing about druids too is that with melee being strong, like the fact that they do have root does allow for some creativity with that as well. And the other thing that's maybe overlooked too is like the fact that they can stealth can allow for like an aggressive opener with cat form.
Mhm.
But here's the weaknesses. The biggest weakness between Resto
We about to
druids-
say Betwonk.
yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say.
I
But
kind of like Betwonk. The biggest difference is between Twonks.
Betwonk, yeah. It falls behind in healing. Like that's the biggest issue with Resto Druid. Their heals are just
Mhm.
not that good at all. Regrowths are critting for like high 500s to give actual numbers on that, and
Wow,
rejuve
really?
is not that good.
And rejuice are weak as well.
Yeah. And because of that as well, it also makes them susceptible to melee in the fact that, like, even though they have Displacer as an option, just because they're going to be having to catch up if they don't do well on the
Mhm.
opener, like, is just going to force them in turn to give other people opportunity to do damage on them, which is not good for Resto Druid. So, the earlier Resto, I think the most important thing is if you're playing with a Resto Druid, if you're running a Resto Druid, you want the longer the game goes, the worse it goes for you. Because Dampener comes in, the other team's going to continue doing damage. You want to stay offensive as possible if you're running a Resto Druid.
Mhm.
And you need to, like, run a comp that can accommodate a Resto Druid. Like, actually, last night, believe it or not, weirdly, I was doing some Resto Druid mage. And we were actually having some decent success with it. But the Resto Druid has to play super aggressive. And, I mean, it is doable, but you have to have, like, someone that's a good player and is really playing offensive, and
So
it's
this
tough.
one is. Do you think more than the two we mentioned before, Resto Druid is more skill dependent?
Yeah. Well, I don't see. That's not. I don't even know if that's the right thing to say. It's just not. Because there's things that you can do on Priest and Shaman that also show that, like, even though you're playing a strong class, like, hey, I'm going to dispel myself so I don't get CC'd and I can,
Mhm.
stay in the game. Or when you're using your guys, etc. Or when you're using your bubble to take the burst damage. But Resto Druid, the fact that, you can get combo points on different targets and swap. There's a lot of creativity
Mhm.
you can use in the class, I think is maybe a better way to word it. And there's a lot of...
Okay.
I guess creativity really is the best way to word it. You can do some pretty nifty stuff, but you're going to fall behind in healing the longer the game goes. That's kind of where druids are right now, to be honest. It's kind of nice.
Do you want to touch on that, Nikosi?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like Bun say, they basically have to play as a DPS almost, because if they're playing to just heal, they're probably gonna lose.
Mm-hmm.
Like to be straight, if they're facing any sort of above healer comp or like double DPS,
Mhm.
like they're gonna have to keep up their partner at the same time, help with DPS, unless they're playing with a warrior. Then
Yeah, exactly.
Well, warrior seems like the end all be all. It'll work if you have a warrior. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yep. That's true.
We'll get into DPS a little later. I have some. Anyways, that's all I really have to say about Resto Druid. I mean, the versatility is there for the class, but
Mhm.
you need to play aggressive for it to work.
All right, then what's next? Did you say Pal was that next, or is
Yeah,
it something else?
I had Holy Paladin as the 4th best healer. So far we've done Disc, Resto Shaman, Resto Druid as 3rd, and now we're on Holy Paladin 4th. So, Holy Paladin, the strengths of the class really is Hodge on a 1-minute cooldown, Bubble, and decent mitigation. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Weaknesses is Holy Paladins probably are at the same level of Resto Druid healing-wise or worse. They're pretty bad, and their instant heals are like non-existent anymore.
I think like Flash of Light is like maybe 500 crits, and then
World of Glory might be the biggest joke in this entire game.
World of
right now,
Glory is
right?
like 300 crits. Like
it's like you have to build
yeah.
3 charges for it, and you have to stand still to cast it, and you just wasted a second and a half of your life.
Yeah.
The basically, if you're playing with a holy paladin, you have to like Hodge. You have to live till second Hodge if you're playing good teams, and that's not an easy thing to do. Like if you didn't have bubble, it wouldn't even be possible. It would not be possible at all. You have to live till second Hodge, and if you do that, then you have an opportunity to win.
Yeah.
But because that they're going to be spending so much time after that opener just trying to catch up and live to the second Hodge, they are very susceptible to being killed. They don't have a dispel. You can just damage them and do damage on both targets. It's going to be really hard for them to keep up. So that's where Holy Paladin is for me. I put it, holy cow, there we go. Wow.
You alright?
Yeah. Okay. But anyways, I put it above Holy Priest and Mistweaver just because Hodge really is like a 5-6 second CC, hard CC. And that can work out, depending on what comp you're playing. But, I mean, the heals are probably the worst. If not really close second to Resto Druid.
I mean, worse than Holy Priest heals?
No, Holy Priest heals are better. Yep.
Yeah, they're way better.
Shit.
Yeah.
Alright then.
And that's where I had Holy Priest. I had them right behind Holy Paladin. And that's one I had to think about a little bit. The reason... Well, some of the strengths of the class is Flash Heal is reliable. That's what I had for it. But the problem is, they have Chastise to stay offensive and peel, but the issue with Chastise is if you're using your Chastise to peel, you're falling behind. The whole benefit of rolling a Holy Priest is to use the Chastise offensively, so if you're relying on that to peel, that's not good. It has decent damage, but without Penance, it's not nearly as good as a Disc Priest in that manner, like not even close. And that also affects how they heal as well. But they can also play with Spectral guys. Bubble's not that strong as a Holy Priest, and they're also like very susceptible to melee and CC because they're just hard casting a lot of the time. The reason why I had
Alright.
The reason why I had them behind Holy Paladin is because their heals are stronger. They're better than Holy Paladin. I think against most teams, the Chastise isn't going to be like enough to force a trinket, or you won't be in a position to do that.
So
kind
why
of
would
pressure.
Chastise not force the trinket, but a Hodge force the trinket?
Just because Hodge is like 2 or 3 seconds longer than Chastise.
Okay.
And I think the way you have to use Chastise on a Holy Priest is like almost like an interrupt. Like you just throw it like,
Yeah, and
like a
it
CS or something.
It breaks on damage. Like it only incapacitates them for 3 seconds.
Oh.
Hodges
So
are
like even if they have like a tick or something on them, it'll
instantly
break.
breaks, yeah.
Oh, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, so that was a really good point to bring up because it's a huge issue. Like if you get that hard like just stun CC, it's overall I think it's better. It's just that you have to live to the second one for the Hodge, and Chastise is going to be up more frequently. So I don't know. It's a toss up between those two. In my mind, from what I've seen people playing, I give Holy Paladin the edge, but it's I don't know. Holy Priest is maybe in a weird way is actually probably the least represented healer, and that's saying like even with Mistweaver, just to give some perspective.
Yeah, but it's because they can play Disc.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, that is true. It's not like Mistweaver has their holy variant that they can do. It's you want to heal as a monk, you're playing the Green Stream Bandit type dude.
The Green Stream Bandit. Wow.
All right. That's right. All right.
Last
you want to bring it
least,
down? The Green Stream Bandit?
Yeah. We've got Mistweaver
Or the Green Stream Slinger. How's that?
Not feeling that.
No?
Yeah.
All right.
You had it right the first time.
But
But
we'll go with the Green Stream Bandit then.
Mistweaver monks, they've got strong heals. Enveloping Mist is really strong. Tiger's Lust utility on partner or self. Weaknesses. Major line of sight issues and positioning issues. No damage. Susceptible to melee. susceptible to CC, no dispel.
Wait, are you saying you don't see a lot of monks rolling in, getting a few jabs and blackout kicks, and then rolling out? Like that's not a frequent occurrence in arenas?
Well, the issue is that you have to spend the global to go into the stance to do damage, and then the global to go back and heal your partner. In an arena,
Yeah, that's
a
cool,
lot
right?
of globals to waste.
Yeah, your
So-
partner is dead then.
Yeah.
Not
Like,
to
it's
mention
over.
travel time.
I've only seen like 2 or 3 comps work with the Mistweaver, and like they have to play really
What
well.
are those?
I've seen
And they
this
have
with
to
the
wait,
Raze.
hold on. Let me say one that I'm just gonna take a huge shot in the dark, and I'm gonna say, all right, I may be way off base here, but Mistweaver Warrior, would that work?
Yeah, I can. That's one of the 3 I've seen work. I've seen Mistweaver Warrior,
over
Mistweaver
HP.
Rogue, and I've seen Neep and Marb run Mistweaver Windwalker, what was kind of funny. So, but against like
Yeah,
against the top tier comps, it's just like there's no hope.
Yeah, they both die at the same time. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keg Smash comes in and they go. Well, I guess a Keg Smash could do that to anybody.
Small, monks die at the same time.
Oh, I would love to see that. Just see this big ass barrel of booze drop on 2 people up to the 2 Taurens they're facing shins, and they just go, yeah, dead.
That's all for the healers. Like I think in my mind that makes a lot of sense, and it's just that the gap between some of these healers, even though you have them ranked like 1 to 6, the gaps are pretty big. Like the gap between 2 and 3 is pretty big between Resto Shaman and Resto Druid, and the gap like even between like Resto Druid and Holy Paladin's pretty big. Like even though they're like directly underneath each other, just priest and
So it's
Resto
like-
Shaman really is your like.
So it's
top
sort of
healers.
like IQ, like the difference between 130 and 140 is light years away from like 170 and 180.
Sure.
Or is that not an understandable reference? All right, we'll
I
just
just
go
don't
with that.
understand that,
All right.
but something I may
Well,
do.
Rise.
Dang,
or
you were
go
just
ahead, say what you're
wow,
gonna say.
You were just jumping all over.
I'm on fire today. I'm sorry. I'm
All
pumped
right,
up.
Fair enough. I think that when the guide is all said and done, I'm gonna go in and actually give them like numbers to represent and show people like actually where the gaps are between the healers.
Mhm.
Cause like, I don't know. I think it needs to be shown so people really have that idea of the gaps between.
So like, even though Resto Druid's 3, if it was on a 1 to 10 scale, Priest being a 10, a Druid might be a 6.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't sound. That sounds pretty accurate, actually.
All right, then I guess HB Rise's question is actually pretty relevant as a transition here. He's asking if the damage is near kata levels, and let's use that as a way to transition into DPS.
Is the damage
So
near
what do you-
kata levels?
It's higher than
It's
kata
higher
levels.
than kata levels. Well,
It is.
I think no. Well, there's like
Like-
3 or 4 classes that is way higher than kata level, and then there's other classes that I think are like, okay, that makes sense. But like
Okay.
warrior, feral, brewmaster, maybe you can think of one more, Nick, for arena purposes. That's disc priest, I guess, if you really want to go down.
Yeah.
But like, I guess I consider that like I put it in the healer category. It's not in my DPS category, but like disc priest does a lot of damage. But then like okay.
But the
so-
thing in Cataclysm that would help the games was that a lot of different healers could like pick up the burst with
Okay.
equal burst healing. And right now it's just basically shamans to a certain degree, unless both targets are being damaged and he falls
Mhm.
behind as well. And disc priest that can like remotely keep up.
Mm-hmm. Especially in an arena setting too, like those really are against the top damage classes that can manage that. And And I think that that's something important to note too, because when we get into the battleground part, which I'm planning on doing next week, things change a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. And one nice thing that I think people can look forward to is that for me personally, Mistweaver is going to jump up to 3 in battlegrounds from 6.
That's a hell of a leap.
So yeah, no, it is, but it just shows that, and this is why I wanted to do the guides this way, is that there really is difference between setting and where classes can shine and not.
Absolutely.
So at this point, I have my rough draft DPS thing. I could
All
be
right, I'm so
persuaded
excited to
still at
hear
this
the top.
point.
Persuaded to what?
I said at this point I can be persuaded because it hasn't been posted yet.
Okay. All right, Nikosi, let's just say, because my off-the-wall guess was going to be Enhanced Chamois. Nikosi, what was your off-the-wall guess for his number 1 DPS?
Well, if he says it's not Arms Warrior, then I have to go with Feral.
Yeah, that is true. That is one distinction I'm glad you made. Before the cast, we were talking. He's like, no, it's not Arms Warrior. Like, what the hell are you smoking? So, you got Feral. I'm going off the wall with Enhanced. What is number 1?
It's Feral.
Way to go with the obvious answer, Nikosi. I tried to go deep.
I wish Kunz was here for this, because me and Kunz got into like a really long argument last night. Because I was just telling him like my list of like why Feral was number 1, and at this point I don't have like the exact breakdowns like I do for the other one. But
we'll try and paraphrase a little bit of the conversation.
And this was going back to what Nick said originally for healers.
Mm-hmm.
A kind of a mix. So when I was looking at this, I'm looking at, like which classes do well against other classes. And also which classes specs work well with other classes in spec. Which, like Nick said, what classes can play in the most different team comps or carry different team comps, stuff like that. And between Warrior and Feral, I think it's really close between those two. Which one can carry? If you went like head-to-head matchups. So like this is what I was talking to Kunz about. Let's say you have Priest Warrior versus Priest Feral. Who do you think should win that matchup? Or if you had Resto Shaman Warrior versus Resto Shaman Feral, who do you think should win that
Nikosi,
matchup?
this is a you question.
Resto Shaman Feral versus Resto Shaman Warrior. I think Resto Shaman Warrior should win because of the spread pressure that they can put out. Like, unless the Feral one-shots the Warrior, I just think that a Resto Shaman can keep himself up against a Feral specifically because it can free cast if it has control over what the enemy Shaman is doing. And the Warrior itself will put out so much AoE pressure that you can easily sneak in a few heals and lock down the other Shaman. So I think Warrior Shaman should definitely win. Priest
HB counterpoint? Oh, I'm sorry. You weren't finished yet. I'm sorry.
Oh.
No, it's fine. Priest Feral versus Priest Warrior, it's a bit different just due to the fact that Ferals can like legit one-shot the Priest's entire HP in one Ferocious Bite. But I still think that it could be a really close matchup, and I think I would probably go with a well-played Disc Warrior due to the AoE pressure, the amount of damage that it can put out, and execute being at 20%.
For the Resto Shaman comp, and by the way, I gave those two examples because those are the two me and Kunz are really talking about. But like, you could literally go down the chart, and we were like looking at them, kind of. Let's break down the difference between what a Feral is and what a Warrior is really quick before we even go into this. Feral is the ramp up on Feral is going to put out more pressure faster than a Warrior. The longer the game goes, the Warrior is going to do better. The shorter the game goes, the better the Feral is going to do, in my opinion.
I don't necessarily know if that's true though. Like, since
let's hear his side of this, Nikosi, and then you guys can compare notes.
For the Warrior Resto Shaman, for the Resto Shaman matchup, I had a Warrior as well. For the Priest matchup, I had Feral, and it like wasn't even a decision for me. Here's the reason why I thought of it. is me and Kun spent a lot of time yesterday. So with the Feral's ability to just just automatically just turn on a ton of pressure, and the ability of a priest to just give him support, like a support bubble, the priest is going to be able to also go offensive off the gate with the Feral. But if they don't land the kill like in the opener, like the longer the game goes, the warrior disc priest team is going to do better. So like you have to and like Nick said, like you'd have to kill the priest, because I don't think you could it'd be pretty hard to one-shot a warrior with like bubble and penance. But for me, I just thought that I thought it would be extremely hard for a priest to live the opening pressure from Feral priest.
Well, it sounds like you guys kind of agree, just to varying degrees at least, with the priest comp. So like what exactly are you disagreeing on, whereas you, HB, say Feral is the top, and Nikosi, you're saying warrior is the top?
I just think that, like, in the comp priest Feral versus priest warrior, if the priest warrior team's priest is playing a position, or they try their best to not let the other disc priest free cast DPS into the enemy priest when the Ferals opens with a rake, then I think that they have a really strong chance of winning. And especially since you have your trinket, so you're gonna instantly trinket the rake and then start spam healing yourself, while your warrior is just putting rend on both targets.
Just going Mongo on bitches.
I just think that the warrior should play super offensive and open straight up on the priest, forcing the Feral to open alone on the other priest. And then it just becomes like a healing contest between the priests on themselves for a little while, until the warrior AoE rents the Feral as well.
Yeah, right.
And that's where the game really turns.
The longer the game goes, the more favor it goes to the warrior, just because of like procs, Crusader, like it just wears down the other team.
But yeah, Feral do insane damage. Like if they get the priest's shield down easily, which they can, and then load up with a 5-point bite with a lot of energy, then yeah, any crits, then they probably win.
Just to give our audience an exact some numbers here. If you have like
are you breaking out the spreadsheet?
No. This is just off the top of my head, actually. If you have like Crusader with Rend, like your Rend crits are gonna be hitting like high 900, 1000s, and like your normals are gonna be hitting like 600s, and you can also spread that, like Nick said. And double just gets insane. But something that I've only seen one Feral do at this point on US is, people talk about warriors weapon swapping all the time, because it's just Crusader's insane, and that's literally what makes warrior insane at this point, is Crusader. If a Feral is running Berserker and swaps, I was playing with Kevy the other day, and Kevy got hit for 3.6k one shot through bubble.
Yeah.
Whoa. What is the likelihood of that happening, though? Is that just like well, you're kind of praying to the WoW gods, or is that something you can kind of reasonably expect to occur?
I think it's reasonable. I think it's about like the same. I think it's close proc rate with Crusader, Berserker. But it's just the.
I think it's slower, but I don't know. I'm not sure on that. But like the last time I encountered it didn't proc as much as Crusader, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't play Feral either, just from like the experiences I've seen. I've really only seen one Feral do that, but it just, I don't know, it shows you like where the class can go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you shared that too, because that lets a lot of other people know that there are more things that they can do with the class to sort of expand their gameplay and experience.
The other thing that when I was looking at, and I know we're spending a lot of time on these.
Go. You've been cutting them off all the time.
No, it's fine. It's just like just to put this in perspective to people who might not know what the scaled health of normal users in the BG or arenas as a 19. It's like Like if you have like 2.8k, you're really well geared as far as stamina goes, and this Feral is then hitting you 3.6k, which is 800 more damage than your actual full health bar.
So that goes back to what led into the DPS conversation, what Rise asked. How is the health to damage ratio? And I guess it's fucked.
It's pretty, yeah. Like to be honest, it's not good. Like on certain classes, it really isn't.
All
other
right.
thing for me too, that the other thing I was really looking at is Feral, the ability of them to be able to just shift out of slows, snares, and avoid like polys is really good as well too. Where certain teams might be able to put some sort of CC or some sort of restriction on warriors, where Ferals, it's pretty hard to stop a Feral.
That's a really good point.
So that's the other thing I was considering too, and I know that's probably one of the closest calls there. So for me, that's where I have it as of now. I have Feral 1, I have Warrior 2.
Yeah, they're both god tier.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'd say we covered both of those well enough. What do you have at place?
My third one, probably a lot of people are going to disagree with, but let me explain. I have Frost Mage as third.
Get out of here, man.
Yes!
There we go!
No. Okay. So,
No.
yes. Frost Mage is third. It's behind Feral, it's behind Warrior.
No shit.
Yeah, but what else would you... Exactly,
No shit.
what else would you put it behind? Like, I'll tell you, okay, my fourth at this point is Brewmaster. And I would put Mage above Brewmaster. I'd put Frost Mage above Brewmaster. I don't, like... It has so much
Because
control.
he sounds like his head is going to explode right now. He's trying so hard.
The reasoning for Frost Mage, okay, for people that don't understand the bracket, Frost Mage does not do very much damage at all. The reason for running a Frost Mage is Frost Mage can take 1 out of 2 people out of the game, especially against melee teams. So, if you're playing it like that and you're trying to keep someone from playing the game while you're playing, it's really good because Frost is a really good counter for Warrior, but like overall, when I was talking about like overall matchups, you know, something I was looking at, I'm like, there's no way Frost is better than Warrior. Warrior's just too good. It carries too many team comps. Like Frost doesn't do like any damage. Like, but then I was looking, I'm like, okay, but like would I put Frost Mage like behind Brewmaster? And I'm like, no, I wouldn't put it behind Brewmaster. And then
I would.
You would? Why? How?
Yeah, I want to hear this. I want to hear some fights.
Because as a Frost Mage, like basically the one comp that you want to run with a healer is with a disc. I mean, you can do with a Resto Druid, but as we talked before, they have to play like a DPS in order for that to work. So it's basically you have to play with a disc if you want to play with a healer, and then maybe you can play with like a ret or a warrior. You have to. That could be like a 2 DPS comp, which you still lose because you don't have any heals. So if like you both get Rentic, then you have the chance of losing. Whereas a BM can roll with basically any melee as double DPS and just destroy teams, including like Frost Mage.
I was considering
What say you,
that
Buns?
as well. I was considering that as well. I think that BM, like you just said, like really does excel with double DPS teams, and they can also wear down other teams depending on what healer they're running. Like if they're running a Disc Priest or they're just getting good keg smashes, they can wear down other teams as well. The thing though is that when I was thinking about it, it's like I think Frost can really run
Spit it out.
just about as many comps as a Brewmaster and like have success, even though they're not the exact same comps. Like I wouldn't run a Frost Mage and a Resto Shaman. Like that would be silly. Because even though there's so much utility on that team, it's just like where's the damage coming from at that point? But I think Frost could probably run with just as many DPS comps as Brewmaster and have more success than a Brewmaster DPS comp, just because of the fact that that Frost Mage can take like one of those two people out of the game. That was where
Counterpoint.
No, I think, and I like seeing mages playing overall because it creates a difference. It's not just all about one-shotting damage. So I like seeing them, but I just think that if the other double DPS team with the BM, whatever they are, if they play it smart, they can put enough damage in on whoever the Frost Mage partner is before poly DR resets.
Is that a fatality, or do you have something to bring it to your side there, Buns?
That's not a fatality for me. I just think that like a fully
Is it a babality?
what? What does that even mean? A
It's
babality?
one of the Mortal Kombat ending moves.
Oh,
never mind.
Not a Mortal Kombat person whatsoever.
All right.
I'm a
well,
WoW
go
person.
ahead.
All
right.
There's some utility that you can do on Mage, and like Nick said, if you're playing against smart people too, they can be negated. But I just have a hard time in my mind like rationalizing putting it like behind Brewmaster, just because you have block as well, which okay, here's the thing too. Let's take it a step back before I go there. If a Frost Mage is running with another DPS, unless it's something like a Ret, Windwalker, or like an Enhance, something that has decent to somewhat off heals, or some sort of... I mean, Windwalker doesn't really even have that great of off heals, it's just the fact that how that comp works is really successful if you play line of sight. But I mean, if you're playing with anything else, you only really have one shot. Unless you're playing with like a healer. But like with other DPS teams, you only have one shot. So with that in mind too, the fact that you can use block to block off like damage, or block off ticks or whatever it may be, and get bandages or bandage your partner as well too. With icy flows, being able to move while bandage, I think is great.
Yes,
utility.
I love that.
But like that being said, you can also counter that just by paying attention. But it is utility that the class offers and helps continue your uptime. For me, I don't know. I think it's close. I just have to like. I love Frost Mage too much. I have to give it the edge. Like the fact, and it's interesting because from here, well, why don't I don't know. Does anyone have any other words they'd like to say on this, or agree to disagree?
Well, I'm waiting to see if you guys are gonna agree to disagree, or if we're gonna move on to the next 19 Twonk DPS.
I just think that like the mage only job, and it does it really well, is basically to be a target you can't really go on due to blocks and the amount of HP you can stack like as a Frost Mage. But it's basically like it's solely dependent on putting out CC and then letting whoever their partner is basically do all the damage, and then you win. Which I think can work very well in this patch due to people just not being used to running into that. Because everything else is literally one-shot damage from two different targets. I just think that there might be a slight skill issue as far as opponents, because they're not used to seeing a Frost Mage, because despite you putting it as the third best arena class, there's like 2 people running it in the world.
That is true, and it's like I just wish people would see the potential. Like it really does have a lot of potential.
Just because no one runs it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means, as HB said, perhaps potential has not been tapped yet.
I agree with that, but I do not think that the current meta gives it the third spot of DPS class.
All right. Well, since I think you guys have your 3 and 4 inverted, let's move to HB's 4 and what would be your 3.
Okay, so this is where it really starts getting into a rough draft because the next three I had all down in a same tier, and I couldn't. And I think that you could, if you really broke it down, like pick them out, and maybe we could talk about
Mm-hmm.
that for which would go where. But in the next tier, I had three classes. I had Ret Paladin, Windwalker Monk, and Enhanced Shaman, which would be, I guess, fifth behind Brewmaster in a tier. Um, the reason I put these classes there is Ret and Enhance
Or melees?
are well, they're all melees, and they do like good damage. Actually, the interesting thing with all these classes is that they're all like kind of squishy, but like Red has Bubble, Shaman has Nature's Guardian, Windwalker
Mm-hmm.
just is squishy. It just is. But
Just the nature.
yeah,
They got some fingers that are pretty deadly, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
The thing, yeah, that's the difference between like these comps or like these classes for me is like the where Windwalker is squishy, it makes up for having a ton of mobility and like having a gap closer, where Ret and
Mhm.
Enhance really don't have gap closers, and that can like start to be an issue when you start looking at the classes that are like listed above it,
Mhm.
in the fact that they don't have a slow. And the other interesting thing I think about most of these classes is, especially for like Ret and Windwalker, or Ret and Enhance specifically, not maybe as much Windwalker, but their burst is they pretty much have burst. They do have like some sort of consistent damage, but it's not like the same consistent damage as let's say like a Warrior, Feral, or Brewmaster. But like TV does a ton of damage, especially if you have Crusader. Fist of Fury is insane and will force trinkets if you use it at
Yeah.
the right time. And Enhance, I mean, Lava Lash hits for decent damage, but you know it's not like it. Enhance is a little more sustain. I don't know
And
where
it-
I would put these like over one another, to be honest. And maybe we could talk about that. Like maybe you have some thoughts.
Yeah,
here, Nick?
Nikosi, can you sort of clarify an order, or do you also think that they're just kind of all on that same sort of tier?
They're probably sort of on the same tier, I would guess. Like it's just they just have different problems from each other, and I don't think we have enough data to like.
The sample size isn't
Yeah,
large
the sample
enough.
size isn't large enough to like.
Well, how about this? What do you speculate? Since one of the things you were talking about in terms of priests over Shami was the number of classes, or comps, I should say, it synergizes with. Out of those three, are there any that you feel would synergize better in class, or synergize with more comps
Oh,
than
huh.
others? And maybe that would be a good way to distinguish which one would be, say, the 4, the 5, or the 6.
As far as like being able to run different comps, I would say Retribution has that unlock.
Yeah.
Just due to that, it can almost act like a semi-healer for a lot of other DPSs,
Yeah, exactly.
which
like, you can
opens up like mage, for example.
Yeah. Because I mean, you could run Ret with any of the classes we've listed above.
Yeah.
And also like a few that we haven't. Actually, a lot that we haven't talked about yet, and have some sort of success because it gives you bubble, gives you heals, it gives you a hard CC with Hodge. And I didn't really want to bring racials into this whole equation, but I mean there are good racials you can get if you're Horde too to help push the buttons. For I think that's really interesting because I think that Windwalker in the right comp is like deadly, like really
Mhm.
good. But the fact that it's so squishy and it doesn't heal that much kind of relies on having some sort of way to live till second fist.
Yeah.
So it needs to be playing with a partner that can do that for the monk. So I think that Nick's right with like having Ret as like the first in like the fact that it can play with the most comps. I've seen Enhance work with a lot of comps as well too, but Enhance is Enhance is weird, man, because Enhance is just like consistent pressure. It has Purge as sheer, but outside of Lava Lash, it doesn't really have Burst. It's just the fact that like if you can like keep time on target, it has pretty decent off heals. I mean, actually, interestingly enough, the off heals out of all off heals, I think Enhance heals the highest now. It's just the fact that
Really?
can heal like way more physical actual heals, like 5 heals and an Enhance go Zoom. Ret can
Oh.
do way more than that. Even though it's not healing quite as high, but it's still Ret is probably the better off healer. It's just that like Enhance like has huge gap closer issues, like because if you just get slowed, like Ghost Wolf means nothing.
Well, since like if we're talking about gap closer issues, Rise brought up a point there, and he has a question. If you would stack your enchants to increase speed, has that helped, or is everyone stacking the speed enchant? So it's really like they negate each other, sort of thing.
Yeah, everyone is doing it.
So it's really everyone's moving 20% faster.
Yep.
And you're doing yourself a disadvantage if you're not. Like that's just on you.
Well,
at
there you
that
go,
point.
Rise.
Yeah.
All right, so what's at number 7? I haven't heard Rogue yet, and that just seems weird to me in an arena setting.
Okay, this is I don't know how I feel about this one yet, but I have Demo Lock behind that, and then I have Rogue behind Demo Lock.
Nah. No way.
Just a straight up Nas, bro.
Yeah.
The reason for my decision was that after you Rogue, okay, here's the difference between the classes. Demo does aids damage. Has hard CC with fear. Can get a leap with Metamorphosis or whatever. So it gives them some sort of mobility as well. Rogue gives you really good openers with classes. If you don't finish in the opener though, unless you're running with like a disc or something, you're gonna have a hard time getting another opener. And I think that with Rogues not having crippling poison at 20, if you live the opener, I think that a lot of classes can get away from Rogues after that. That was my thought process. But Nick plays Rogue, and maybe
Yes.
Nick has some things to say.
Yeah, I think, like, I have to admit I haven't seen that much Demolock in Arena, so I can't really discern exactly how high their single target burst is. I just think that Rogues can run with basically any other DPS plus a disc, so they can run a lot of comps. And I think if you play a Rogue well in the opener with sapping, like triple sapping, while your other DPS buddy is basically killing the other team's DPS or healer, whoever you decided not to sap. And I just think that you're so in charge and in control of the opener that you can decide how the game is gonna go, compared to someone running with a lock that's probably playing with a healer.
That is true. I think Nick is right in the point where Rogue gives you a lot more freedom to run with other comps, just because like Rogue offers such a strong opener. Where like, I ran like Lock Mage one day. And that is not.
How did that go?
That is not a strong comp, but it's kind of fun.
Wait, so you don't want to advise? Please tell me you're running something like Fire Affliction, because that would be fantastic.
No.
Or do you not hate your life that much?
No, we were running Frost. We were running Frost Demo, but like, you can just get better openers like for like double DPS comps.
And Rogues do a lot of damage.
Yeah, they do. It's just that.
So what if you partnered up like a Rogue Feral?
Yeah, Devastating.
Oh, that would be like AIDS.
Yeah.
Well, not really. I mean, someone would just die. It's actually not AIDS, but.
So it's more Ebola than AIDS?
Yeah, and
yeah,
the fact that like
the Pharaoh will do damage, and healer most likely who's getting traded cannot cast because the rogue still has kick. And
Mhm.
if they get kicked, they lose the game. But then it's more up to the healer's partner to 1v2 and hopefully kill the rogue and then try and kill
So
the feral.
hopefully the partner is a warrior and
Yeah.
everything's gravy.
Yeah.
The great balance is the other person a warrior.
I would actually like that is one of them where like I really like. I would be in favor, especially how Nick described like the fact that rogue can work with so many comps. It's just that
Mhm.
if you don't have a good opener, it's like you have to have a good opener. And like just because they
But-
have gap closing issues and like would have trouble getting re-stealths against a lot of teams unless you have like a priest.
Yeah, well, yeah, you would also have to like have AGM so you could reset
Yeah,
cleanly
that's
at
true.
least once.
Mhm.
It's very AGM dependent if you're planning to play something. But, like, I can just say from like my own experience. Like I used to, which was the last patch, so it wasn't that much difference.
Mhm.
Currently have. I used to run Rogue Boomkin, and it would be like really, really good because Sap is such an underused ability, and you can abuse it to like its full potential if you're really smart about it. So like in a 2v2 arena, we would both come out stealthed as a boomy.
Mhm.
Then
Yeah.
I would sap one of the opposing team, and then start lining up on the other. I would then sap the kill target. The boomkin would start casting Star Surge. As Star Surge is in the air, I sap one more time. So the target takes the damage, but is still sapped. And then
See, I feel like that's really rude and Brumble hitbox level of just, I know things that you don't know, and you're not going to know how these things happen, but I assure you it's possible.
yeah, but it's possible, and it like you as a rogue, if you don't know how this works, like it's really you can really work on it, and it's gonna come like second nature to you. So what happens then
I've-
is you open with a target that's already maybe down to like 80%, and then
Mhm.
you open simultaneously with another Star Surge into ambush, and then the Boomkin can displace her in and just go ham cat form as well.
I like how the Boomkin's main objective there is go cat form.
Yeah,
I know you're a
Yeah.
caster. Well, go cat form, bro.
He casts like 2 Star Surges while the target is basically sapped, so he can't stop it or line of sight it.
Mhm.
And then we just go ham. But yeah, but that's one of those comps that's really like opener dependent. But at the same time, you can run if you don't want to be as dependent on openers as a rogue. You can still run rogue disc and do absolutely fine.
Okay.
Yeah, and even
Alright, we
comps,
are-
like, you could do something like Ret Rogue or Ret Enhance and still have
Yeah.
success with like the off heals and stuff like that. What were you? What you got, UB?
I was gonna say we're coming up. I think around an hour 15 for the cast. So do you guys want to pull this long style, or do you
Well,
want
we're
to
almost done here. To be
shuffle
fair,
through the last? Okay.
we're almost done here. After, by the way, I'd actually like to hear one more thing from Nick on Rogue, and I think it would benefit a lot of people. What spec
Okay.
do you like best in Arena and why?
Well, there was a emo buff sub recently, and I haven't gotten to play as much rogue as I wanted since then. But I did try some sub, and it felt pretty good. But before the emo buff, I was playing combat. Purely just because of how the damage felt against priests. I just felt that as combat, there was this little extra oomph that just, yes, that happened when I was facing priests. But right now, I honestly don't know, and I haven't done any research
Okay.
with the new buff.
Because that was the one class when I was really looking at all this where I was like, I really couldn't like, I had no consensus on one spec being like drastically better than another. Like I just
You know what
had
we're
them
gonna
all.
do? We're gonna have to reach out to Saxtink and find out his thoughts on the rogue game,
Yeah.
because you know that ass knows what is going on with it. All right, let's move on to the next in the list. I feel like we're getting to the dregs of the DPS
No, no,
society.
no, no, no. We still got. Hang on there. So I have a tier. There's a tier after uh, the lock and the rogue. I have
Okay.
Hunter Boomkin in the same tier, and Hunter Boomkin both do a lot of damage. It's kind of about it though. Like
It's a weird thing to say when you talk about hunters, where they're only doing damage. I've always thought of them as a class that offers insane damage at max range with way more CC than they should have.
like they offer conk still, which is nice, but it's not like a hard CC or an interrupt at this.
Mhm.
And Boomkin offers root, but that's it is good maybe for like an opener situation, but after that, like their off heals rejuve is so bad. Like you cannot rely on Boomkin as an off healer at all. It's not worth it.
Does
Like,
it make a Resto Chamois Riptide look like a bubble sort of
the
thing?
only thing that's better about rejuve than Riptide is that there's no like CD on rejuve. Like you can just spam it, but like the actual healing I think is worse than Riptide. Like it's really bad. Like rejuve is awful. But both those classes can do a lot of damage. So if you match them up with like something in the tier where we were talking about like Ret or Enhance, or maybe even like Windwalker, like or Rogue or something like that. Like you could have some success with those comps, I think, just because they will match up well with damage and having some sort of off heal and some sort of CC. Below that, I had a tier of the other mage specs. So Arcane and Fire. And to be completely honest, I'm not sure if Arcane. The reason why I had Arcane so low still, I guess you could maybe bump it up to the tier above that if you wanted to make the argument, but Arcane can literally only cast Arcane. Like that's the only tree that they can cast in. If you lock an Arcane mage, or you're lining their stuff, like you're just gonna make an Arcane mage's life hell in Arena. And considering that their biggest damage is 4-stack, and it's not even dumping your barrage anymore, and it takes about 2.2 seconds to cast a 4-stack, that's a lot of time to do your damage, even though it does do a lot of damage. So I just think in an Arena setting, that's one of those classes where I think it goes drastically up in Battlegrounds than it does in...
Would Boomkins and Hunters also fit into that category?
What do you mean?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
And I think that Fire gives you more control in the fact that you actually have slows, but, you still could be running like Frost. It's kind of like the pre-situation. Like, I mean, I guess you could go Holy, but, like, I wouldn't put Fire above, like, Demo, Rogue, Hunter, Boomkin. Like, there's no way. Like, I couldn't put it above that just because it doesn't do that much damage.
I feel like you just laid out a challenge for all the people that hate the Frost Wizards to be like, I'm gonna make that fire shit work.
Yeah, mainly
They should
Marb.
play Arcane.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you definitely put it on the fire where it's just like, oh, they're gonna make. Not only is the Frost better, but you say Arcane's better? Shit, son.
Underneath that, I had the other Warlock specs, so at this point, Destro
Affliction,
and
baby,
Affliction,
come on.
Ellie Shaman, and Spriest in the same tier. And the main reason for that is people might be a little upset that I put Destro down that far, but in actuality, like, you should not be getting Chaos Bolts off ever. And, like, that's like their main damage. They have to sit there for like 3.5 seconds in one place with how strong melee are, and all the other classes above it putting out pressure. Like, that just shouldn't happen. Affliction doesn't do enough. Like, even if you're running against shamans that can dispel, it just doesn't do enough. Ellie Shaman is like a turret that doesn't do that much damage. And Spriest, you're better off playing Holy. than Priest. So.
Wow, it's that bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're gonna do less damage than the other specs too, which is like.
Well, it's like
opposite.
if you want to do DPS as a priest and you want to be a really good healer as a priest, go disc because you have best healing options and really a very viable DPS option, all rolled up into one tidy little bun.
Yeah.
One thing I should mention, maybe people are like weirded out why Sprees are that low. You don't have Mind Blast or Devouring Plague at 19. That comes to 21. So, just to give some clarification on that, you have Shadow Word Pain and Mind Flay.
Well, that's all you need, right?
Yes. Okay, then after that, the final tier is I have Fury Warrior, Prot Warrior, and Protection Paladin.
Fury Warrior is probably better.
Yeah, Fury Warrior might be better than like.
It's still a warrior. I gotta believe like.
But it doesn't have rend. It doesn't have rend.
That doesn't matter. The warrior still hits hard, kinda.
I hope somewhere, and you guys might not know who he is, but I hope somewhere Buck Ditch is listening to this, and he's just sobbing into his ivory beer horn when he hears about how terrible Fury Warriors are.
The one class on that last tier that I'm interested in seeing someone try who's like a good player and really figures out the mechanics of the class, I would be interested in seeing if someone could make Prot Paladin work in certain comps, but it has yet to be done. So that's where I have it ranked.
And what is your basis off that? Just going cap on stuff with the shield, or mixed in with the Hodge and such, or are there other things?
Yeah, just because you have the double CC. I mean, your off heals aren't quite as good as rep, but you have still bubble, and I don't know. That's, I guess, that's why
you
I'd
have
like
a
to see it
blanket
happen.
silence, which is always good in a bracket where one shot can basically turn the game upside down. Like if you time that blanket silence with your feral, then yeah, you can win games.
And I think you guys just broke Matt B's brain. He's going all caps in the forums right now with the fact that Prot Pallies are at the very bottom of this list.
I mean, they don't really do damage. They really don't. But yeah, that's actually the conclusion of the list. That's all I got there. I'm gonna try to update the DPS here in the next few days, but you know, this was a lot of work just talking through it, and my write-up's gonna be a little bit more detailed, so be a little patient on that. Until then, I mean, you have this cast to listen to and yell and scream into the computer why you hate me and my thoughts, but that's where I have things
Matt
ranked
B
as of
is
now.
on that.
One thing I wanted to mention that I didn't mention when we started the cast is when I was making these decisions, I was making my decisions based on my own personal experiences in the bracket and picking the players that represented the best gameplay of their class/spec. So I'm not like saying like, oh, well, I mean, to give an example, a lot of people could play Feral or Warrior, or there could be people that, you know,
And they are
playing like,
in fact.
yeah,
You don't say. Flavor of the month doesn't attract everybody.
but there could also be people that are playing like Rogue or Mage or Enhance and maybe aren't using the toolkit to their full ability. And I think if you see someone that does use the full toolkit to their ability, that's kind of where I was making my decision. Someone that I've seen really use the full toolkit.
Well,
et cetera, et
Groshank's
cetera.
claiming he's flavor of the month as a fire mage, so we'll see how that works out for him.
All right, I'm actually looking forward to seeing that, to be honest. So.
All right. And for you guys that weren't here at the beginning and kind of came in at the end, and this is directed towards the streamers, what HB was talking about can be found on the new bisnation.net forums. Which section did you put that in, Buns? Or did you put it in multiple?
It's under the guide section right now.
All right. So you can go there and find it. What about the bow here?
Oh,
Who
I
wants
got
to
a
take
bow.
this? Nick?
I got a
you
bow.
got it? All right. Okay.
Looking forward to the battle rap, the rap battles for the tournament. Hashtag free DA.
Oh, God,
Need
I
some real
saw that.
rappers in the building. Hashtag free
You
save.
give me enough booze first. I may enter the rap battle.
That's my bow. That's all I got.
Oh, jeez. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Nikosi?
Um, yeah, like take 19 arenas right now for what they are, and by that I mean you probably shouldn't expect too much unless you enjoy playing warrior or feral, and really think it's cool to one-shot people or spread enough damage so the game ends within a minute every single time. But if that's your cup of tea, that's fine, and I'm
The
happy
poop
that
in the punch bowl.
the activity is good because currently 19s on US are having a little bit of a problem
Oh
getting
yeah,
most
yeah.
culture.
You know what? I'm gonna have to say this too.
Mhm.
There is a problem with queues right now in battlegrounds, and while we don't know the exact reason for what is making this happen, for Warsong Gulch, we're having troubles getting pops, and it's not just physical numbers of people. There's some sort of issue going on with Blizzard. If you check your timers sometimes, the queue timers, like, you lose your position in queue and it gets paused, and other times there's like more than enough people online, we can get the pops. So please, for people that are really, adamant about playing 19 Twinks, you gotta submit bug reports and get the word out there because, we really want events like this tournament coming this summer. We don't want these things getting in the way, and this is something that needs to get cleared up for activity to continue the way it is.
But we also need people to keep queuing and make an effort together to try and organize stuff and then try again, because this bug seems to have come out of nowhere and it might just disappear out of nowhere again, and then
Right.
it will be great with games. Because
Don't be the one
Warzones
asking
right now,
if the games are popping. Be the person that is on when the games are popping.
yeah.
Yes.
Even if
All
you're
right,
here
well-
for A, just stay in queue.
Like Nikosi did last night.
Yes.
All right, let's let people know where to find everybody. Buns, where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/FearTheBuns. I'm on Twitter @FearTheBuns. Make sure you guys are getting the word out about the Twink Cup. #Twink Cup. #RunBizBaby. Get the word out there. Follow me on Twitter. I will be tweeting the heck out of people.
Nikosi, where can we find you?
You can find me at Bisnation's forums, where hopefully you will see me cleaning out threads. No, hopefully we won't need to do that, but that's my aspiration, that one day I will have to clean one thread. But so far everyone's been really nice, so it's like...
Everyone
Yeah.
has been straight so far. It's been
And
fantastic.
I guess you can follow me at Twitter at NikosiFFS, because someone took Nikosi, I guess, and
I like Nikosi for fuck's sake, though.
yeah.
I don't know if that's what you intended it to mean, but that's
Oh,
what I
totally.
intended. That's what I interpreted as.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was French fries score. Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because that makes complete sense. All right. You can find BIS Nation at bisnation.net. The BIS Nation on YouTube, BIS Nation on SoundCloud, BIS Nation on iTunes and the Stitchers. Obviously, bisnation.net. Check out the new forums. And do I have anything else I need to say, or can we wrap this up? Thank Nikosi for joining the cast with us.
Thank you, Nikosi, for joining the cast with us.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
I thanked him.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. We'll catch y'all next week. And for anyone that was wondering, this will be going up on YouTube at some point tomorrow, which is Sunday.
Peace.
Be easy, y'all.
Bye.
Oh my god.
I was fucking spitting back my drink into the cup.
I don't know, the way
Oh, shit.
just like I can't resist to do something stupid.
I think it's
Like,
it's one of my favorite.
Eh, in the end, no. Just had to.
Oh, jeez. My favorite thing is, hey guys, it's Nicozy. And I stepped on it the first time, and I'm so upset about that. Ugh. Oh, Twonks. Shit.
Good cast.
I agree. That was good. HB, that was a great job you did with the list, and I'm super happy that Nicozy at certain points was just like, no. No.
Yeah, that was a
Like,
lot
it's-
of work that was put in by HP.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. And if you guys still on there, please check that out. It's going to be very helpful to guys, that are looking to roll in the bracket and need to know the actual score.
It's Twonks the cat. Twonks the cat has made an appearance.
Oh yeah, Rise asked a question about that because he didn't. I don't know if Rise knew. After a cast, what do you think it was, HB? Like 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Like 2 months ago after cast, Rise.
Oh,
I
I
walked
bit
out
my
friend-
tongue!
You're interrupting the Twonks a cat story with your inability to chew food.
Oh.
That actually really does suck.
Oh.
Not only does it hurt, but you feel like an absolute idiot because there's nothing more avoidable than like, oh, hold on, let's not put my tongue in the place of that Cheerio.
Oh.
No, but Rise, after a podcast, I went out to get some fresh air, and there were some beady eyes beaming up at me from one of my plants, and it turned out it was a little kitten who definitely hadn't eaten in a while. So I adopted the little kitten, and that became Twonks the cat, as named by Rogue 9.
Damn. That's some sweet ass American love story, man.
It is! And I still haven't got the thing to poop in something besides the tub yet.
Oh,
So. Kitty's got issues.
damn, dude.
Mm.
When you watch the VOD, he shows up multiple times. Alright, so you guys want to end this stream? We're going to play some games. What do you want to do here?
I have to
I'm
get
up to
prepped up for
play.
the tournament in an
Yes.
Oh, that
Sure
mage
you
you
did.
transferred and got reversed.
I have to no. I have to make my anti-feral set for the tournament today.
I think we just went over the fact there is no such thing as an anti-feral set. If you can be a priest fully stam geared with a bubble, and then somehow you get Dead Man's Hand at well, I guess that doesn't matter either if you get in one shot.
Yeah, Buns. That's gonna be rough, you guys. It's gonna be rough.
However, when you figure out exactly how to counter that, I think everyone would like to hear what the Frost Wizard anti-feral set is.
Yeah, but it's also a 3v3, right? So not only do you have to counter
Oh, it
the
is
feral,
threes.
you have to counter the warrior.
Wait, they're allowing feral warrior teams?
I don't mind warrior.
No,
They shouldn't. They shouldn't
that's
allow
because
feral
they
in the
have force
tournament.
mage,
They
dude.
shouldn't
That's-
allow feral in the tournament. Feral is
Yeah,
Weren't
so
ferals banned from tournaments like a last X-Pack? And they weren't even as insane as they are now, but just in that arena setting.
Well, it is
if
a
they
little bit of
were-
a, it's more of an impromptu tournament. I mean, there is like a little prize pool and stuff like that, but
Yeah,
it's
but
not
it's
to the
also
level.
run
You know what?
by
I don't want to disparage any tournament that's being organized for any bracket.
Fair enough.
It's just carrying off the conversation we had. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you going to be streaming the tourney or anything tomorrow? There's still some people
It's
viewing.
today.
Maybe you can
It's
get
in
that
like an
up.
hour.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Yeah. All right. So in an hour, guys, are you going to be streaming it?
Yeah, I think so. Most likely, yes.
All right. Well, yes.
But
in an hour or
I'll be on twitch.tv/fearthebunz, not bisnation.
Yes.
Yeah, those guys at bisnation are assholes.
Aren't they though? Gee, especially that dude from Sweden.
Yeah.
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 Just
I'm like
He
not
comes
even-
over here saying his brand of football is superior to our brand of football. I mean, who does he think he is? I don't know.
Yeah, because you wouldn't want to use your feet when it comes to football.
No, and I mean, you'd like to be a Lakers fan if you like basketball, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This is
Damn.
great times right now. Just overall, everything.
Wait, did
goes
anyone
like-
see last night Russell Westbrook put up 17 points, 17 rebounds, 15 assists?
No,
not
holy
see it,
shit,
but-
really?
Yeah. he did.
That's God status. That's like box score God mode.
I don't. That's how the fuck does your guard?
Because he's an athletic monster. With
So is
motor.
Spud Webb.
Yeah,
but he ain't gonna be putting that up.
Nah,
But he also is a foot shorter, so yes.
Yeah, and he has a motor of like, it's like uncomparable. Game.
Dude, out of your sports cliche terms, where like you can be say Jay Belis and be like, the length of this guy is just out of this world. He's like a condor as he swoops into the basketball court, grabbing these rebounds. Or when they say like motor for Russell Westbrook. Do you have a favorite one of those?
Temporarily disabled. What the fuck?
Your WoW account?
What does that mean?
That you got a temporary ban?
What would I have done?
What?
Reverse the transaction. They suspect a shady nature of it.
Yeah. That could be it.
Really?
How did you reverse the transaction? You made a ticket or?
Yeah, I talked to a GM, voice chat, or yeah,
Oh, voice.
or not voice, the live chat, Can I check my account and see if it's like, if I log on, does it say if it's like temporarily banned or something?
Well, you should be able to log on.
Never been banned.
Oh,
But yeah,
it's locked.
log
It
on.
says it's locked. What does that even mean?
Well,
You
someone
need to
tried
reset your password.
Yeah.
Someone hacked you, and you need to reset your password.
Because you wouldn't account share, right? Twinks have never done that. The history of World.
I
Absolutely
don't actually know if
not.
anyone knows my stuff right now, to be honest. So how do I unlock? Well, you know what? I'm gonna turn off stream first off. I will be.
Wait,
I'm
real
gonna be
quick,
on
before
my.
you
What?
before you turn off stream, I want to say one thing.
Okay.
For people that are using the bisnation.net forums and are aware of the points game, I'm going to be putting something out tomorrow for the top 5 that have the most points.
Damn.
So right now, well, I can't say of right now, but of last time I checked, Sandsmark was at top, and Groshank, you were right in the middle. Because I know you're on.
What
so
about
just
you?
to let you know,
man?
I am so far above. The 3 of us are out of contention because we all should be light years above of everybody else, and I think I'm quite literally quadrupled everybody else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, your point.
I'm my points are
Over
pretty goddamn
9,000.
But anyone curious about what the points game is for the forums, go to the facts section and click on points the game. There's a breakdown of the scoring and how to gain points. And of course, you can lose points, and the losses are quite substantial.
Boom.
Boom, indeed. All right, you can click the
All right.
end transmission now.
Peace
Buns.
out, Strom. I'll be on.
Thank you,
Fear the Buns later.
Streamlings.